This might be a hot take, but I think the walkability of the neighborhood is determined more by the pattern of our housing than the quality of our pathways. Hey, John, the Happy Urbanist, here for KUA. Let me introduce you to the Echo and the Piedmont. First, a quick thought experiment. If you lived in a single-family neighborhood and were given the permission to open a business and you decided on a coffee shop, and it was decided you needed 1,000 customers within your market to make sense, and you drew a circle big enough to find the 1,000 people closest to you, it would probably be a pretty big circle, and you'd have to do a lot of marketing to get those people to even know you exist. But contrast it with a coffee shop in which there is more than 1,000 people within a 5-minute walk. Now imagine if that neighborhood had a second business open up right next to it that didn't compete, like a florist right next to the coffee shop. They could share those same 1,000 customers. In fact, every non-competitive small business added in makes it more valuable and more likely that people will know you because they're coming in for the other business first. This is what a neighborhood node used to look like. In fact, this is the one in my neighborhood, at least what it used to be. And it's middle-sized, multi-unit buildings that afford this sort of density. That is to say, you could have the nicest pathway that led to nowhere practical, and you would hardly ever walk it. But if you lived in a neighborhood in which there was a great park, other public amenities, and small businesses, you might walk all the time. And this is what I mean by walkability, practical walkability. But buildings like that have all but disappeared from most American neighborhoods. In part for legal reasons, zoning, that keep them from being built, but mostly because of stigma, the thing that brought the zoning about in the first place. This is why I think these buildings are so important. 12 units each, well made, they're distinct from each other and have their own personality, offering an array of housing choices from 2-bedroom apartments down to studios. They serve as a buffer from this traditional, more single-family neighborhood to the more commercial corridor. Practically, it's a sound barrier as well. And they're also creating a base of customers that make it more likely to have those delightful neighborhood shops and public amenities like a nice park. But the group that's building this, the West Side Future Fund, chose to work with KUA and use these designs, which are plans that are pre-existing. And these plans are great in part because they can be copy and pasted across the country wherever the housing crisis exists. And they don't always have to look the same. This same building is being built a few blocks away from my house in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but it has a different exterior. And beyond that, having lots of different choices like this make your site plans adaptable. For example, the Piedmont, in conjunction with the Echo, was chosen because it meets the density that they wanted for this workforce housing, but also preserved an alleyway which was required by the city. But most importantly, the more that these buildings are successful in helping curb displacement, offer attainable housing, and create gentle density, the easier it'll be to help convince public officials to make incremental changes to our zoning policies. It's easier to say yes when they see the work working.